All right, let's talk about it. The New York Giants were able to pull off the upset at MetLife Stadium today against the Green Bay Packers, 24 to 22, bringing them to 5-8 on the season right now. One game out of the wild card while also holding the 10th overall pick. Crazy times that the New York Giants are living in. And regardless of how you feel, whether you want a quarterback in the offseason, whether you want to run it back with Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, if you haven't been following the channel, absolutely hit that subscribe button. But if you have been following the channel, you already know how I feel. I'm in the crowd of I would like the New York Giants to address the quarterback position going into this year's draft. I think that there's quite a good handful of quarterbacks in this draft that the Giants could get, and I think it's time. I think it's time to move on. But you can't deny that this wasn't a fun game to watch. This was an absolutely fun game to watch by the New York Giants. And I got to say this much. You got to give credit to this coaching staff. I have to give a lot of credit to Brian Dable, Mike Kafka, and Wink Martindale. I don't know how you fire any of these coordinators that aren't Thomas McGahee and Bobby Johnson, even though the offensive line played a very, not a very good, but a solid game today against what I think is a pretty good defense in the Green Bay Packers. But Mike Kafka and Brian Dable being able to get production out of an undrafted rookie in especially at the quarterback position in Tommy DeVito while also working with the makeshift offensive line. Gotta give credit that they're getting production out of this offense and that they're able to score 24 points. I mean, considering that the offense in the beginning of the year couldn't even score 13 outside of that Arizona game, they were abysmal. Now, granted, you look at the last two games, they haven't really been scoring too much outside of the Washington game, but being able to score 24 points, you were going to have to do that to beat this Green Bay Packers game. We spoke about it on the live stream. If you're not going to be able to score points against this defense, you're not going to be able to win this game. And that's exactly what the New York Giants were able to do. I got to give credit to the young man in Tommy DeVito, as well as the young rising star in Wandale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Saquon Barkley. Obviously, we'll talk about it in a sec, but got to give credit to this offensive staff for being able to put together, in my opinion, a very solid game plan against the Green Bay Packers. Now, let's talk about Tommy DeVito, right? Tommy DeVito, 17 to 21, 158 yards, 71 rushing yards, one touchdown. Listen, listen. You have to keep Tommy DeVito on this roster in 2024. Absolutely as a backup, but I think, in my opinion, he's putting together some solid film, and he's really showing that he deserves to at least start for the New York Giants for right now. Now, I thought in the first half he did look a little bit shaky. I had tweeted, I thought, maybe we should see Tommy DeVito if he can't pick it up, but I was wrong, and gladly. I have no problem admitting that. He was really dealing the ball out there. He had a nice 26-yard chunk run that led to Saquon's second touchdown to bring the Giants to 14 and 7. You look at some of the plays that he made, especially the Isaiah Hodgins touchdown. I mean, what a beautiful catch by Isaiah Hodgins, grown man touchdown, but that was a better play, in my opinion, by Tommy DeVito. Escaping the pocket, finding his receiver, beautiful dot, especially when you take into consideration the wind. And I think it's kind of crazy that I'm even talking about the wind, but the wind was a factor today. Whether you want to agree with that or not, the wind was a factor today. Beautiful dot. And I got to give credit again to Tommy DeVito for really putting together some solid film. Now, Wandale Robinson had his breakout game today. I am very, very pleased with what I've seen from Wandale Robinson this season so far. I mean, you look at the play where out of the Wildcat formation, huge run play leads to Saquon Barkley. You also, Saquon Barkley getting a 5-yard touchdown. You also look at that nice toe drag catch that he had. Nice play by Tommy DeVito too, but that was a beautiful toe drag catch by Wandale Robinson. There's a little bit of talk whether he was kind of baiting Green Bay into challenging that play because his face kind of looked like he was uncertain whether he caught the ball as he was walking to the Giants sideline, and maybe Green Bay saw that and threw the challenge flag. But when you looked at the replay, it was clear as day that that was never going to get overturned. That was a beautiful play by Wandale Robinson. He had a big time catch in double coverage off a flea flicker, which when was the last time the New York Giants ran a flea flicker, let alone successfully completed a flea flicker? Again, credit to Mike Kafka and Brian Dable for getting creative with this offense today. He had the play of the game. Leading the New York Giants into field goal position. A beautiful, beautiful dot by Tommy DeVito, but just an excellent play by Wan'Dale Robinson. And I got to be honest, I was in the camp of I wasn't too fond of the Wan'Dale Robinson selection. I thought, okay, this is a gadget guy. How is he going to fit in this offense? I was looking at George Pickens, some big body wide receivers as well, thinking that, okay, this is going to be a better fit for this offense. But you saw spurts of last year, especially in the Detroit game, where you're seeing how his role is going to be carved out in this offense. And boy, was it shown today. And I'm absolutely wrong about Wan'Dale Robinson. I'll eat that crow any day. Just a beautiful game by the young man, a rising star. Jalen Hyatt as well had some nice plays today. Got to give credit to where credit's due. Again, I thought the play calling for the offense was fairly nice today. The offensive line, I thought, did pretty decent. Gave up 0 sacks. So that's nice to see. We weren't hearing too many names called. Penalties were critical in this game, in my opinion, but at the same time, again, give credit to where credit's due. Bobby Johnson had this offensive line looking pretty decent today, and, can't be too upset with what you saw. Now, let's talk about this Giants defense, right? This Giants defense continues to improve and continues to show how dominant they can be with just a few more pieces going into the offseason. They're playing at a very good level right now. The fourth straight game with multiple turnovers. They made Jordan Love very uncomfortable in this game, and you got to give credit to Wink Martindale. Again, how do you fire any of these coordinators outside of Thomas McGahee and Bobby Johnson? How? So to me, again, this defense they made Jordan Love make some pretty bad decisions. He had Kayvon had a nice strip fumble on Jordan Love while attempting, to complete that first down. Made Jordan Love throw an INT. Kayvon had a sack, having 12 on the year. He's just continuing to show, just what an excellent player, an excellent draft selection by Joe Shane. Just proving his doubters wrong. I mean, what a breakout year for the young man. But Aziz finally showing up, had a big time sack, meeting up with Dexter Lawrence in the fourth quarter. Again, this defense made Jordan Love uncomfortable, and they continue to be the strong suit of this team. And to me, again, like, I'm very pleased with what I saw from this defense. Now, I thought Deontay Banks, outside of, the touchdown that he gave up, which, if we're being honest, I thought that was just a better play by the wide receiver. I mean, I thought that was pretty tight coverage in my opinion, and I'm sure people will point out that it wasn't, but, I thought today he had a pretty solid game. He had some nice pass breakups. He had a nice pass breakup on number 83 for Green Bay that could have been a touchdown. He's putting together a pretty solid rookie year. He has 10 pass breakups on the year. That's tied for second most amongst rookies, and that's through 13 weeks. So, very, very pleased with what you see from the young rookie. Now, let's talk about some of the bad, right? Obviously, the win was a factor today. You saw that in special teams, right? You saw that on some of the punts. You saw the punt that hit Bobby McCain. You saw it on the missed field goal for Green Bay. You saw it in the passing game as well. I liked how, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were saying, it's tough for Jordan Love to throw through the winds and, making every excuse that they could for him. But, in the first half when Tommy DeVito was struggling a little bit, and you could tell that the wind was affecting the ball, they let's not even get into that. But again, the wind, crazy enough to talk about that, but it was a bit of a factor today. Um, Hold on, was a bit of a factor today. I thought that there was a bad PI by Cordell Flott. Definitely costed the New York Giants a little bit. Also, you look at again the penalties. I thought Tommy DeVito should have got he should have got that flag. Obviously, it was blatant. They didn't call it. You saw Brian Dable livid. Definitely need to see that get really get addressed because the officiating this year has just been it's been bad. It's been an all time bad. I take into consideration that they're human. There's a lot of pressure on these people, but at the same time, it's killing not just obviously games like today, but just throughout the league, and you're seeing it week in and week out, and it really does suck to see. Now, I thought Tommy DeVito throughout the game It's more in the first half, not so much in the second half. I thought in the second half, he settled in, but the first half, he was missing some wide receivers that were wide open. Again, you could blame the wind, but I thought, he was playing a little bit frantically in the first half. But at the same time, again, like I stated, I think he settled down. He was able to get his receivers open. He was able to make plays. But you look at also Saquon Barkley having his third career fumble at the worst time possible, led to the Green Bay touchdown, setting them up 22-21. That could have been the game right there. That could have been the game right there. And you saw it on his face after the game. Once the field goal was kicked, that he was relieved that that didn't bite the team in the ass. Now you can sit and argue that that was ticky tack, but at the same time, the rules are the rules. He didn't give himself up, and that's a fumble. So it is what it is. I know people are going to complain about it, but the fact that he has 3 career fumbles when there's people that have that in a single year, I'm not gonna get too hard on him. Obviously, you don't want to see that, and you want to see your players play at a high level, and you want to see mistake free football. But again, 3 career fumbles for Saquon Barkley. He hardly ever drops the ball. So I'm not gonna get too hard on him. But again, I gotta give credit to this team. They're fighting, and regardless of how you feel, whether going into the offseason you want a quarterback or whether or not that you want to run it back, this was an exciting game. Give credit to the coaching staff for drawing up a masterclass performance. Give credit to the young guys at Tommy DeVito, Wandale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Kayvon Thibodeau, and this defense coming together. I mean, this team is fighting. This team is fighting, and there's not much. There's really not much more that you can ask. And again, they're one game out of the wild card, also holding the 10th pick at the moment. Now they do have the Saints coming up. They're gonna have Philly and the Rams, so a lot can change, guys. A lot can change. Take this week in and week out. It's a week to week league, but it's this was a fun one. I really want to hear what you guys have to say and what some of your thoughts were in this game because again, this was a really fun game to watch. There was a lot of positives to take away, obviously some negatives to take away. When you look at the special teams unit, special teams was an absolute joke today for the New York Giants. Thomas McGahee, I don't know what he's doing. These players look lost. If there's any coordinator that should be fired going into this offseason, it is Thomas McGahee. Send that man to the moon. Don't know why he's still on the Giants facility, let alone with the team. But yeah, special teams was. I get that they had a turnover today, but outside of that, nah, it was not it today. But let us know your thoughts below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.